Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me this fabulous Monday. Today, I wanted to talk to you about 10 essential cold calling tips for freight brokers and freight agents to boost your success. Okay. Before we get into the top 10, a little motivational for you. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Okay. So don't get discouraged. All right. And again, as we look into 2025, I think that there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunities for freight brokers and freight agents to build their book of business by following these top 10. Okay. Number one, do your research. Okay. Before calling, learn about your prospect's business, their typical freight needs, what potential shipping lanes they might have, right? Knowing their industry helps you tailor your pitch and build credibility. Okay. Number two, have a strong opening. You only have a few seconds to capture their attention. Okay. Introduce yourself confidently, mention how you can add value, and ask a relevant question to engage them. I will add to this, when you introduce yourself, don't just start off on your sales pitch, right? Ask them how they're doing. How are you today? Don't take over the conversation. Okay. Tell them the reason behind your call, but again, be confident. Okay. Too oftentimes, I hear, especially with newer freight agents and freight brokers that are kind of new to sales and cold calling, you get a lot of, I'm Larry from XYZ brokerage, and they start going into their thing, right? So yeah, I think that's about all that needs to be said with that. Number three, if you need to, use a script, okay? But sound natural, okay? Prepare a script to guide your conversation, but don't sound robotic, right? Like if it sounds like you are strictly reading from something, it's going to be portrayed to your prospect, right? They're going to know that you're reading from a script, okay? Adapt to the prospect's responses and keep the conversation fluid, okay? Number four, focus on solving problems, all right? That can't be stressed enough. Shippers care about efficiency, reliability, and cost savings, but don't let price be your main focus, okay? Especially going into this year, because we are starting to see a turnaround. And for those shippers that are adding every brokerage that calls them, they're basically trying to get everybody to race, to the bottom, bid to the bottom. Highlight how your brokerage can solve common issues like delayed shipments, higher costs, and capacity shortages, right? We're still losing capacity going into 2025. And with a lot of the things that are kind of, if you're paying attention to the news and the direction that our country is headed and where freight is headed, that's going to be an upcoming thing. So, be ahead of that curve, maybe make them aware of it, right? They might not be aware of what's going on in the industry. And that's part of our job as brokers and broker agents, is to keep them informed. Okay. Number five, ask the right questions, right? Qualify the prospect by asking about their freight volume, any pain points they might have, and their current logistics setup, right? Just as a few examples, good questions help you uncover opportunities to serve them better, right? Number six, handle objections confidently, okay? Expect things like, we already have a broker, or we're not interested, or everything is customer routed, or FOB, right? Be prepared with responses that highlight your unique value and keep the conversation moving forward. Again, can't be stressed enough. And we may do a follow-up video on kind of elaborating on each one of these, but I kind of wanted to give you a breakdown of them and, let you think about how, your calls have been going so far and what you might be able to do differently to improve your success. Okay. Number 7, don't be afraid to leverage social proof. Okay. Mention some existing clients, your industry experience, right? If you're in a niche or niche, however you want to say it, you know, mention to them that you specialize in shipping steel coils or pipe or produce, or especially if it's a certain type of produce and things like that, like we've mentioned in previous videos, that you understand that a certain produce moves on the truck at a certain temperature, things like this, right? Or any successful case studies to build trust and credibility. Shippers want to know they're working with a reliable partner, right? So don't be afraid to mention that during the call. Number 8 is follow up consistently. Okay. Most deals don't close on the first call. Follow up regularly via calls, emails, LinkedIn messages. Stay on their radar and build that relationship. Okay. And they might even say, yeah, go ahead, send me over your packet. I'll take a look at it, and when I've got something, I'll let you know. But that they're shipping regularly, right? Be persistent, right? Keep calling them back. Hey, I just want to make sure that you got my packet. Do you have any quotes that I might be able to provide for you? Things like this, okay, can go a long way. If you have any last minute loads, during the day, don't be afraid to reach out to me. You have my direct contact information, things like this. This is a couple of examples. Number 9, track and improve your calls, right? Record key details from each call that worked, what didn't work, and what next steps are needed. All right. If you're not having a lot of success currently, review your approach regularly to define your pitch and improve success rates, right? Like what worked, what didn't, or I really felt like I almost had that customer, but where did I lose them in the conversation, right? So sometimes it might just mean a little bit of tweaking. Okay. And again, like I said, don't be afraid to call that same prospect back, a few days later, a week later, whatever. Sometimes we don't know what's going on with their day, right? Something drastic may have happened in their life, and when you called, it just was not a good time, right? And they just, nope, thank you, click. Things like this that can, and you're thinking, man, I barely got my name out, so don't be afraid to call back either. And last but not least, number 10, stay persistent and positive. Like I mentioned a moment ago, cold calling is essentially kind of a numbers game, right? Don't get discouraged by rejections. Keep refining your technique and stay motivated. Okay. The more you call, the better you'll get. Okay. So don't feel like just because you failed on the first 50 phone calls, right, that's the end of the world, and you're going into every call and you're like, hey Bob, this is Tim, I just wanted to reach out to you to, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Don't come off like a circus clown, but stay positive, have that energy in your voice and throughout that call, right? I can't stress that enough. A lot of times, and I've actually made calls myself where, you could kind of sense by the way they answered, by the way the prospect answered the phone, maybe they weren't having such a great day. Hi, this is Karen. You know what I mean? And so you were able to kind of maybe slip in a little joke, how are we doing this Monday? Or, just something, right? That's kind of probably maybe not the greatest one, but you know what I'm saying? Like, try to feed into something to kind of elevate their mood a little bit, make them feel good. Maybe a little pick me up, right? You might mention, like, especially with me, I drink a lot of coffee, probably a lot more than what I should, You know, it might be early on a Monday morning, and you know, you kind of get that, you know, hello, you know, hey Karen, how are you? This is Tim over at, you know, fine, yourself. Well, I'll be doing a little better. I get a couple more cups of coffee in me, you know, or something. Just, it doesn't have to be directly related to freight, you know, or anything. Just a little something, something, you know, and they might go, I hear that. I could use another 2 or 3 cups, you know, this morning or something, you know, and it just sort of, it, it elevates that atmosphere of the call, right? So don't be afraid to slip that in there. Don't take over the conversation. You know, like I said, by asking them more questions about their business, you know, and reassuring them that you are familiar with their type of freight, the lanes that they move, all these things, it'll all come together, right? So I hope that this was helpful, everybody. Again, if you need factoring, if you need DAT, I love DAT. Again, and we do have a link to save 10% off for the first 12 months. You know, they have a lot of data that they provide, and things like that, market trends and everything. I can't stress that enough. That's so important to pay attention to. Especially if you're new and you're, you know, kind of learning how to quote customers and things. You know, if you don't already have DAT and your load board isn't doing enough for you or providing you with that data, right? Because we rely so heavily on data. Check it out, right? Sign up. Don't forget to check out my guys over at eCarrierCheck, Nate and Jared. Don't forget to check out their channel. They are some rock stars over there. A lot of great information. I love eCarrierCheck. You know, like I said, we use it. Can't say enough about it. It's been extremely beneficial to our business. Yeah, just super, super great guys. Don't be afraid to, you know, check out a couple of their videos. You'll see for yourself, and you're going to come back and go, thanks, Tim. Thanks for turning me on to eCarrierCheck, right? Same thing with Operfi. If you need factoring, right, they have customized solutions, fuel card, free credit checks, all kinds of stuff, right? They are really invested in your success, you know, as a freight broker or a carrier, whether you're an owner operator or you've got a fleet of trucks, right? Talk to them if you're experiencing any issues with your current factoring company. I've been reading a lot about carriers, especially having big time problems with their current factoring company, and some of them are, you know, big players in the factoring world, right? And they're just not getting the service that they need. They're not happy. They want to switch. And knock on wood, our group, our people that have used Operfi have been 100% happy with them. Okay, so again, it takes nothing but a few moments to speak to them. Okay, if you're shopping around, link in the description down below. Fill out the contact form and talk to them. Just, you know, see if they're going to be a good fit for you. Okay, so with that, I'll let everybody get back to it. I hope everybody has a great week. Till next time, as always, be kind to one another, and we'll see you later.